Hey everybody, I'm Sean Powers, and this video is going to be a little bit different than my normal videos. I just want to talk about Mastodon because a lot of people that I know who are not necessarily super nerdy and techie and want to know about Federation and, I mean, not Star Trek Federation. The Federation's pretty cool there. But if you just want to be like an end user and understand like conceptually what's going on and some limitations and what you should or maybe shouldn't do and how you can tell who's who, I'm hopefully going to cover some of that in this video. Now, first of all, the big issue that I personally had, and I actually have talked about it in podcasts in the past, are figuring out what server to make an account on is so frustrating because, like, what do I want to be? Do I want to be Sean Powers? Like my Twitter handle is Sean Powers with a 0. It's that everywhere, but at what server? Honestly, it doesn't matter. And it matters even less now than it used to, because if you start on someplace like, let's say, mastodon.social, they're actually closed for new accounts now, so you can't do that. But let's say mastodon.cloud, you sign up there and you're like getting your Mastodon groove on, and then you realize, I don't want to be here. I don't really like mastodon.cloud. I wanted to be on like this specific niche server. I'll explain what the different server, like why you might want to in a minute, but just know that you don't have to like wait or spend a whole lot of time deciding, because you can move from one server to another. And if you do the process right, which we're going to go over, you can move your followers and the people that you follow over to your new server. And then the spot on the old server will just be like a redirect and you won't show up in searches. So it's basically like you moved out and that house is now no longer belonging to you, but it kind of has a forwarding address if people go there specifically. Okay, so don't worry about where you should sign up. You can sign up anywhere and you can move later on if you feel like you want to. Okay, now as far as what the different address means, now when you're on Twitter, you get like at and then your Twitter handle, right? On Mastodon, you get at and then your handle, whatever it's going to be. Mine is good. Mine is the same as it is on Twitter, Sean Powers with a 0 for the O. And then after that, there's another at, so it looks a little funny, but then the domain of the server that you happened to pick to live on, temporarily even, okay? And so just like Sean Powers is my Twitter handle, Sean Powers at nerdlings.net, at Sean Powers at nerdlings.net is my Mastodon handle. And if I go to another server, it will change to something else, but I don't lose anything. It's more like an email address than it is like a Twitter handle. Twitter is basically conceptually like a Mastodon server where there's no options, right? Everybody is their handle at twitter.com. In this case, though, with Mastodon, you can be your handle at wherever, and you can change and move around, and it's really, really cool. Now, let's actually look at a server so I can kind of explain some of the differences between a Twitter account and a Mastodon account, because finding other users is also a huge frustration, but that is getting better. So let's look at, for example, my Mastodon server. Now, if you go here, this is mastodon.nerdlings.net. This is just my domain. This is my own instance of Mastodon. I spun it up myself. It is closed. You can't sign up on my server. Sorry, it's not a big server, and it's just me and another guy who I agreed to see what it looks like to have multiple people on my host. But you'll see this a lot. Like mastodon.social actually has this too, where it says it's not accepting any new members. That's because of the big influx. People have like the server can't handle it, so they have to scale, etc., etc. But like I said, it doesn't matter where you sign up. Everything can be moved later on. So anyway, if you go to a server like mastodon.cloud, but anyway, this is what a server looks like. And then if you go to a particular user's page, like for me, it's going to be Sean Powers at nerdlings.net. So at Sean Powers at nerdlings.net, that is right here. That's my handle. This will take you to my page. And this is a little bit different than Twitter because now you'll see I have the blue verified check mark. That's just me being silly. I just added an emoji, a custom emoji to the end of my name so that I would look verified. But there is actually a verification process for Mastodon, but it's kind of complicated. I'm assuming it will get easier to verify who you are on Mastodon with a verified link. But even like, super famous people, not me, are not like verified in this way. But there is a method to do it, and you can see it right here. In fact, let me try my fancy. Yeah, so right here is basically how you can see if somebody is verified. And the way you do it is like on my SeanPowers.com website, I have a link to my Mastodon profile with a special like part of the URL, relative link. And then on my Mastodon page, I link to that page. And basically, as long as you trust that this website is owned by the person and they set things up, it will get this like green checkmark verified thing. But again, don't worry about that because it's kind of hard to do, kind of complex, and the only people that are going to do that are pretty nerdy people at this point. I do expect it to get easier. Okay, let's see the other things. Other ones that looks a lot like Twitter. You'll see. I know they say, oh, it's not a Twitter alternative, but it sure does look a lot like Twitter. If you want to follow somebody, you would just click follow right here. But this is a page where you can't sign up. Let's go to somewhere where we can sign up, and I want to show you why it doesn't matter what server you sign up on. I'm going to close this, and here I am on mastodon.cloud. Now, this is an instance that is actually accepting new registrations, so you could sign up at mastodon.cloud, at least right now when I'm making the video. I don't know, it might close. But I created an account called Pink Pony. So here, if we click on this, you can see Pink Pony at mastodon.cloud. This is an account that I created just for this video. And if you look, let's see, there's one person following me, Test Nerdling. Surprise, surprise, I also created that account because I want to show you how to migrate. But this is an account. Let's see, I'm following some people. John Green, I think it's the real John Green. It looks like it, but he doesn't have any sort of, if you go to his page, there's no verification link, that he has put in there, again, because it's a pretty nerdy and complicated way to go about it. Looks like John Scalzi is on here. It looks like John Scalzi. Again, this isn't him. It's not verified either, so I can't guarantee that it's him, but it seems to be him on the website. Let's say that I created this account, Pink Pony, at mastodon.cloud, and then I realized I don't want to be on mastodon.cloud. I want to be on my own server. Well, what you can do is move from one server to another, but it is kind of not complicated, but it's important to do it in a certain order, and it's easy to overlook the instructions. So let's say I'm here, Pink Pony, and I want to move to my Sean Powers at nerdlings.net account. Well, I could go over to preferences and then go to account, scroll down, and it says move to a different account. Okay, and that's what I want to do. I want to move to a different account. It says click here, you can configure it here. Okay, and this is where the first time I did this, I didn't read the fine print, but you should read the fine print because it says it'll move all your followers to your new account. Very awesome. My Test Nerdling follower will follow me. Your current account profile will be updated with a redirect notice and will no longer be found in searches. Again, like I said, if somebody's looking for you, if you do this process, you won't be listed. So they're not going to like knock on the house that you used to live at to try to figure that out. Let's see. No, their user data will be moved automatically. The new account must be configured to reference this one. That's the important step. We don't start here. We start on our new account and we open that up to have things transferred to it. Okay. Your account will not be fully usable afterwards, meaning once we do this, my Pink Pony account will be disabled. But it says I have to configure the other one first. Okay. So let's go over to my actual logged in page. Here I am. I am logged into my Sean Powers at nerdling.net account. All right, so here I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go into preferences, account, and then instead of move to a different account, I'm going to say move from a different account. All right, to move from another account to this one, you first need to create an alias. So I'm going to create an alias. Now, the handle of the old account, remember it is at Pink Pony at mastodon.cloud. Okay, create an alias. Boom. My alias is created. And you'll notice down here, I've actually done this because I had accounts on other servers and I didn't know what to do. I made multiple ones just like most people, but I created aliases and then I moved them all over to my new account. So we're going to do the same thing with Pink Pony at Mastodon.cloud. And so that alias is set up. So let's go back over to Mastodon.cloud. Okay, and here we are. I'm logged in as Pink Pony. And now it says, what is the handle of the new account? Okay, so the new account that I want to go to, in fact, we can go back here. So just so that we're clear, we're at Pink Pony at Mastodon.cloud. Okay, I want to go to Preferences, Account, scroll down. I want to move to a different account, configure it here. Okay, now we did set up that alias, so now the handle of the new account is at Sean Powers at nerdlings.net. And then the password is for my current Mastodon.cloud instance here. It's not letting somebody else do this, right? It's making sure that I'm really me, that I'm really transferring my stuff. So I click that password. I'm going to click Move Followers. My account is now redirecting to Sean Powers, and my followers are being moved over. Now, here's a secret. I've actually never done this before. So let's see if my followers actually moved over. So I'll come over here. This is now, I'm back on my regular Mastodon account. So let's go to follows and followers, or whatever we have here. Relationship, followers. Well, look at that. So Test Nerdling did, in fact, move over my follower from my old one, because Test Nerdling was not following Sean Powers at nerdlings.net. So it did move all of my followers over to my new server. Now, it looks like it does not move over people who you follow, because I don't see anybody on here. Yeah, it did not copy over the people who I follow. So while it did automatically move my followers over, and that's significant, because you can't make somebody follow you elsewhere, right? Now we can export and import the people who we were following, but to have other people follow you at a new account, that process is something that you have to go through. So really quickly, if we go back here to my Mastodon account here on Cloud, we can go to import and export. Let's see, the people who I follow, that were those 3 people. So I'm going to export that. And now if we go to my new account, we can go to import. I'm going to choose following accounts. I'm going to merge, keep the existing records. We're going to put this into our following list, and I'll upload. All right, and now if we go back to Mastodon, go to follows and followers, following. Now we can see that John Scalzi and John Green were added to my list of people who I follow. Now, I have noticed that the video is kind of glitching, so hopefully you're still able to see that. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, if we go here, I just want to show you a couple more things. This is your home. This is where all the people who you follow show up, just like on Twitter. Notifications, these are if somebody follows you or mentions you, or I think if they retweet you, what is it called? Boost you. There, it's glitching again. But anyway, there are more things that are unique with a federated service. For example, if you click on the Explore tab, this is going to be specific to your instance. So if you're on a bigger one like Mastodon.social or Mastodon.cloud, you're going to see like trending things here that actually mean something. Here, it's just me, and so there's not much going on. Same thing with my local timeline. Everybody on the instance's toots are here, but it's pretty much just me. So on a bigger instance, the local timeline is going to be people on that instance. And why that is significant, that is like the one reason that you might want to be on a specific themed server, right? Like say you are a book nerd, you might want to be on a book themed social Mastodon instance, right? But even if you're not, even if you're me, like on a nerdlings.net instance, you can still follow people on that that instance. It's just your local timeline. You won't discover new people necessarily. However, the federated timeline here, the federated timeline is a little bit different. all it gets information on servers that it can get feeds from based on the people on the instance, who they follow, like what servers the people they follow are on. So anytime it learns about a new instance, like if I follow somebody on mastodon.social, or I follow somebody on, some other random instance, it will then look on there and get all of the timeline from those instances, and that's where the federated timeline is. This isn't everybody on the entire Mastodon universe. However, it's going to be pretty big, especially if there are a lot of people on the instance who follow a lot of people, because as soon as it learns about an instance, it will get the timeline from there and add it to the federated timeline. And the same thing with searching. So for example, if I search here, this is where some people are frustrated. Like, how do I find people on servers? Well, we're on my nerdlings.net server. If I search for, let's say, Neil Gaiman, press enter, I'm going to find him because I follow people on the mastodon.social instance. And so if I click on this, is it actually Neil Gaiman? Oh, and he actually does have, I'm so sorry that it's glitching, but he actually does have himself verified. So not only is this Neil himself, but it really is Neil himself, because on his website, neilgaiman.com, he has that link back so that it actually is him. So I will actually follow him because Neil Gaiman is awesome. I'm really sorry that my screen was glitchy. I don't know what's going on there. But hopefully it was clear enough that you could see what I was talking about and understand a little bit more, one, about why it doesn't matter what server you sign up with, because you can change. And even if you don't change, you still will have access to everybody on the Fediverse, I guess is what it's called. As long as you follow people and then they retweet somebody on a different server, then your server, the instance that you're on, discovers that other server. And so then it will query that, and it just becomes a bigger and bigger thing. So your search will start working better. Your federated timeline will become more interesting. Again, doesn't matter where you start. And you don't need to create more than one account. That can be difficult for people to figure out who the real you is. And it can be difficult for you to figure out, like, okay, which account do I log in? And it can be a real pain. So if you're just trying to represent yourself, just set up one account on any service. And if you already have multiples, migrate one to the other and just stick with that one. And if you want to move it, you can move it. But anyway, that's the gist of Mastodon as an end user. I hope that helped. I'm really upset that my computer was glitching, but hopefully it was clear enough for you to see it. And if you want me to talk more about it, or you want me to get a little bit nerdier, let me know as well. Otherwise, I will see you on the Fediverse at Sean Powers at nerdling.net. I'll see you there.